Why tell God anything when He knows everything? Why offer God anything when He has everything? Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ teaches as the ideal prayer one that addresses very human demands to God. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Jesus himself says, just before suggesting this prayer, your Father knoweth what things you have need of before you ask him. Why then his recommendation to pray for anything? The answer is that we should offer ourselves up in acceptance of his abundance. Don't pester God as pulling constant his sleeve to get his attention. Approach him with the confidence of a child in his parents. And in that spirit, then ask him lovingly, but with complete trust, as though demanding your birthright, and without the slightest doubt in your mind that he wants only your best. For you don't have to persuade him the way a beggar or a stranger might. You are his own child. God knows everything already. He knows what is in your heart. It is you who need to clarify your feelings, that you attune yourself to him in turn more clearly. For only by such clarity will you be able to receive perfectly what he gives you. For the same reason, we need to offer ourselves to him, not because he needs anything from us, except, as Yogananda says, our love to complete his love for us. But because by self-giving we expand our awareness from its confinement of the little ego outward into infinity. Those who partake of the nectar remaining after a sacrifice, says the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, attain the infinite spirit. That person, however, who makes no sacrifices never truly succeeds in enjoying even the blessings of the material world. How then can he obtain a happiness in subtle realms? Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Happy Sunday to everyone. Swami Kriyananda puts a question, a very interesting question. Why pray if God already knows? Why to ask about God if God knows everything? Have you been attentive in the lecture, the reading? Why? Why talk to God if he knows everything? This week I was harvesting olives and thinking of this question. Why pray? You know all. Why talk to you if you know everything? You are my word. And at that point the answer came. In truth, we live in a total disaster. We live all in some way in suffering. And this only because we don't see what is there. God is here omnipresent around us, and we don't see him. God is such an incredible beauty. Swami Kirananda would say, he loves you so much and will love you forever that you cannot believe. There's this joy, this bliss, a sea of joy and bliss around us. And we go on following the wave of suffering, of superficiality. We don't understand. And something came to me when I remembered when I went to the Himalaya and we meditated with one of these great master saints, and the same impression that I had was because we were looking with our physical eyes, and we were seeing the whole surrounding, and I could see that he had a different vision. He was seeing a whole sea of bliss and love. And I felt so desperate. We are all suffering, even if it's not necessary. So I started to sing. I just remember this chant. And it means Shankara is the name of God, of Shiva. God, you are God of compassion. And at the end it says, Karunakaro, we are immersed in this world of turbulence, especially now, of suffering, of things, of fights. Whilst God is here, the answer is here. Love is here. And how can we get out of this? The problem is that as human beings, that when we get close to God, we have the habit of thinking, and then we start questioning, what is God? God is consciousness, God is existence, God is this, God is three, God is one, God is two, God is light. And we start to think. Try to close your eyes and focus on your intellect and that definition that you give to God. God is form, God is not form. God is everything around you, and you are thinking and defining God, and you will see that you will not understand anything. With the intellect, you cannot move towards God. You will not feel this. Now think. Now, let's be in the senses one moment. Like Shivani asked us to close all our senses in the prayer. Shivani asked, because we try to understand with our senses the truth and reality. So try to open the senses, and your mouth sometimes has a sour taste or a sweet taste. The olives, right now that I was harvesting, some looked like grapes. And a friend of ours, Jayita, was helping me. She had never done this. And she took one and she said, I want to try it. And if you have never, it's terrible. The taste is terrible. It's really a sour, bitter, because the taste and the senses is a world that a little bit gives you a caress, and on the other hand it hits you. It is cold, it is hot, and you won't go anywhere because we are completely blind through our senses. God is there, but the bliss is all around us, the love is permeating us, but we do not feel it because we are in the senses. And you haven't done what Shivani was reading. Father, mother, friend, beloved God, one by one I close the doors of the senses, lest The perfume of the rose or the song of the nightingale distract. My love for thee may not distract. I know the nature is beautiful. I've seen it this week. But what is nature? What nature is, like Yogananda said, is the body of God, not God. So if you feel the nature, you're feeling the body of God. If I see your body, it may be beautiful, extraordinary, but the human being is not that body. God is not that. God is something more. And when you are in the senses, it's beautiful to see a tree. It's beautiful to see a human being in a wonderful form. But it's not God. You are totally blind. There is beautiful bliss and love that is falling the whole day around you. And you suffer. Who is not suffering? This moment is so terrible. Left, right. This morning, one of my students of Ananda Yoga called me, and she is suffering. It is really hard. Why? Because we have not opened the eyes that we have and that see God. We have two eyes that see God. Number one and number two. One and two. And both eyes are needed. Do you know what eyes are? What these eyes are? Do you know what these eyes are? Some of you has understood. One is that's first eye, and number two is here in the heart. When these two develop interiorly, especially in the silence, you can see God. Why do they ask you to pray? God knows already, but when you pray, you put up your gaze. You will never look down when you pray. Why do you sing? Why do we sing? Thy will come. Why does Yogananda ask us to sing if God is here? Yogananda says God cannot be closer than what He is. Why does He ask us to sing? Thy will come. Thy will come. It doesn't have a sense. It's because one is here in your heart, has to open, and the one in the spiritual eye has to open as well. So you need to see, not in a philosophical way. I have studied a lot of philosophy, and there are logical explanations of why God exists and why God doesn't exist. You won't arrive very far. Here and here. For those that are more visual, if you don't see it, this is the spiritual eye. It's an eye. It's the eye of intuition. And this is another eye that is here in your heart chakra. You have an eye that can perceive and see God. Truly, you can't see Him. It can be when you are very advanced, you can see God somehow. But God you can really perceive. And this here in the heart chakra, in the meditation and prayer, you are revolving yourself towards the spiritual eye, meditating towards the spiritual eye. That's the real highway to God. You will not find God looking down. You will find God looking in Christ's eye, in Shiva's eye. It's right there in the forehead. But then God is love. You do not feel Him in the forehead. You will feel Him in the heart. The bliss, you will feel it in your heart. When the heart is open, it's like an eye that sees and perceives God. The touch of God, you do not feel it on your spiritual eye. Divine presence, it's all here. That's why they say, pray, sing, talk to God. Even if you have nothing to say, He knows everything. But finally you will open your heart. You sing, and by singing you will open your heart. I will read you something from Yogananda. The heart is the love center of God, and the spiritual eye is the wisdom center of God. These are two poles of the spiritual magnet. But remember, these two are like a magnet, spiritual magnet. Both these centers, heart and wisdom, draw God. That is why some teachers tell you to concentrate on the heart and others to concentrate on the spiritual eye. The spiritual eye is the most powerful center. It is the positive center. But the heart center is automatically working with it. When those two poles develop, God comes forward toward you. When these two poles develop, that work together, when they develop, then God comes to you. And this means the end of every suffering. COVID, non-COVID, you will suffer the same. Something else will come. The world goes like that, good and beautiful and ugly, good and bad. While you are going this way, all in the material level, you will always suffer. But when you develop the heart, not in a romantic way, also you can also have your love stories. Why not? But your heart has to be open towards upward, and you have to look towards the spiritual eye and feel in your heart. This is the funeral of your suffering. So pray. Pray. Because this is useful for you. Like a little child, when you take him on a trip, and then you ask the little child, what have you seen? You don't know you don't need to know what he saw, because you saw it as well. But at least the child talks about it, remembers, and this is important. And you give to the child a doll to a little girl. It's not that it is not a true baby, but at least he develops certain qualities. So God, just the same way, by praying, singing, dancing, He says, offer something to me. Offer it to me. Yogananda says that God doesn't need anything. He doesn't even need your offering. He is your offering. Does he need the flowers that you offer? No. You are the one that needs this. You need to open your heart. If you go to a ceremony in Ananda where you offer your flowers and you don't do it with your heart, then it might as well stay on your chair and sit down. If you chant in Ananda and you don't feel it in your heart, then it's useless. God knows you. He is close. But you are the one that has to open. Because if not, you stay in the total darkness, spiritual darkness. And you will suffer. The only solution, political revolution, all of that stays the same on earth. If we do not invite God, there is no solution. You can try. Swami Kriyananda has a chant. If you search for freedom in the revolution, you can search for it, but you won't find it. When you will be in the revolution, you will see that everything is the same. That's not a solution. The solution is here, in your eye, all the time in your heart. When they explain a technique of Hongso, many ask you to concentrate on your spiritual eye. Then the last phase, that is of listening and perceiving, then the guide of God, the touch of God, that bliss. Even Yogananda talks about the omnipresence of God. You will feel it in the heart. I will also read from the autobiography of a yogi something that is beautiful. When he goes in contact with God, Yogananda says, I saw the center of the imperial. What a point of perception, intuitive perception in my heart. Here, when it's calm, yoga citta, when the sentiment is calm, then unity arrives. Calmness in the sentiment. Here you can understand God, not in your mind. Here you can feel Him. And then God is present and alive. I have always been loved. I have always been protected. I have always been surrounded by joy, but I've never seen it. If you don't develop this, I think that you can concentrate a lot, but you don't feel anything. If you don't concentrate, you will just feel your heart. Then you can be probably away, far from the divine presence. Here you concentrate on the spiritual eye, on divine presence, like a telescope. And here in the heart, it's like a plate that is calm with water, and it's calm, and the divine moon reflects and shines, and there you feel the divine presence, and you are blissful from your heart. To finish, one phrase from Krishna, from the Bhagavad Gita, what Yogananda says, it calls the Bible of India. And Krishna says, O Arjuna, the Lord is lodged in the hearts of all beings. Try to put your hand in your heart and feel, without explanation, that there is the sacredness. It's there in the heart that God lives. Here is where He lives. Krishna says, O Arjuna, the Lord is lodged in the hearts of all beings. Put your gaze up and look towards God, and then open your heart and feel. Here is where He touches you and where He lives. Open your heart and listen to the words of Christ. Blissful are the pure of heart, because they will see God. Open your heart in a receptive way, pure and crystalline, that is looking towards the divine presence, and it fills with this presence that no one, and no man, no woman, no external experience can give you. Here is the sacredness. Always. Om. Shanti Shanti.